Welcome to this comprehensive guide on deployments. In this video, we'll be diving deep into the world of software deployment, discussing everything from the basics of deployment to more advanced topics like deployment strategies and continuous delivery. Whether you're a seasoned software developer or just getting started with the world of software development, this video is for you. So, let's get started. Chapter 1: What is deployment? Before we dive into the world of deployments, let's first define what deployment is. Simply put, deployment is the process of releasing a software application or service for use by end users. This process involves a series of steps that are taken to move the code from the development environment to a production environment where it can be used by customers or users. The deployment process typically involves several steps including code compilation, testing, packaging, and deployment to production. Once deployed, the software can be used by end users, who can provide feedback that can be used to improve the application. Chapter 2: Deployment Models. There are several deployment models that are commonly used in software development. Let's take a look at some of the most common models. 2.1 Traditional Deployment Model. The traditional deployment model involves manually deploying software to production. This process is typically slow and time-consuming, and often requires a significant amount of manual effort. 2.2 Automated Deployment Model. The automated deployment model involves automating the deployment process using tools and technologies like continuous integration and continuous delivery, C/CD. This model allows developers to quickly and easily deploy software to production, reducing the time and effort required to deploy software. 2.3 Hybrid Deployment Model. The hybrid deployment model involves a combination of the traditional and automated deployment models. This model is often used in organizations that have existing legacy systems that cannot be easily automated, but want to take advantage of the benefits of automated deployment for new software development. Chapter 3: Deployment Strategies. There are several deployment strategies that can be used when deploying software. Let's take a look at some of the most common strategies. 3.1 Blue-Green Deployment. The blue-green deployment strategy involves deploying two identical production environments, with one environment, the blue environment, serving as the production environment, and the other environment, the green environment, serving as the staging environment. When a new version of the software is ready to be deployed, it is deployed to the green environment, and once it has been tested and verified, traffic is switched from the blue environment to the green environment. 3.2 Canary Deployment. The canary deployment strategy involves deploying a new version of the software to a small subset of users, and gradually increasing the number of users who are using the new version of the software. This strategy allows developers to test the new version of the software in a controlled environment before releasing it to all users. 3.3 Rolling Deployment. The rolling deployment strategy involves deploying a new version of the software to a small number of servers, and gradually increasing the number of servers that are running the new version of the software. This strategy allows developers to test the new version of the software in a controlled environment before releasing it to all servers. Chapter 4: Continuous Delivery. Continuous delivery is a software development practice that allows developers to continuously deliver software to production. This practice involves automating the software delivery process, and using techniques like continuous integration and automated testing to ensure that the software is delivered with high quality and reliability. Continuous delivery requires a robust set of tools and technologies to be effective, including version control systems, build automation tools, test automation tools, and deployment automation tools. Chapter 5: Deployment Tools. There are several deployment tools that can be used to automate the deployment process. Let's take a look at some of the most common tools. 5.1 Jenkins. Jenkins is an open-source automation server that is used to automate the software delivery process. It supports continuous integration and continuous delivery, and allows developers to automate the build, test, and deployment of software. 5.2 Ansible. Ansible is an open-source automation tool that is used to automate the deployment of software. It allows developers to automate the configuration and management of servers, and can be used to deploy software to production environments. 5.3 Docker. Docker is an open-source containerization platform that is used to package software into containers. Containers are lightweight and portable, making them an ideal way to deploy software to production environments. 5.4 Kubernetes is an open-source container orchestration platform that is used to manage the deployment and scaling of containerized applications. It allows developers to deploy and manage containers at scale, and provides a robust set of tools and technologies for managing containerized applications. Chapter 6: Best Practices for Deployments. There are several best practices that should be followed when deploying software. Let's take a look at some of the most important practices. 6.1 Test automation. Test automation is a critical part of the deployment process. Automated tests can be used to ensure that the software is functioning correctly, and can help catch bugs and other issues before the software is deployed to production. 6.2 Version control. Version control is an essential part of the software development process. Using version control systems like Git allows developers to track changes to the codebase, collaborate with other developers, and easily roll back changes if necessary. 6.3 Code reviews. Code reviews are an important part of the software development process. They allow developers to review each other's code, catch errors and other issues, and ensure that the code base is consistent and maintainable. 6.4 Deployment pipelines. Deployment pipelines are a critical part of the deployment process. They allow developers to automate the software delivery process, and ensure that the software is tested and validated before it is deployed to production. Conclusion. Deployments are a critical part of the software development process. Whether you're using a traditional deployment model or an automated deployment model, it's important to follow best practices and use the right tools and technologies to ensure that your software is deployed with high quality and reliability. By following best practices like test automation, version control, code reviews, and deployment pipelines, you can ensure that your software is deployed with confidence and that your customers and users are getting the best possible experience.